and older gather in the small town of Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, to compete in the state's senior games. Some of the footage in this story was taped as events unfolded on the morning of August 9th, 1990. Dr. Michael Cordes was the medical director of the games.
The day of the race was very, very warm. The humidity was high, and that makes for an extremely difficult time, even with young athletes.
7 runners in the 70 to 74-year-old age range were competing for 3 places to go to the Nationals in the 1,500-meter race.
Hey, it's my day, I found a penny.
70-year-old Edward Johnson had been running for 12 years, but he was competing in the senior games for the first time at the suggestion of his good friend, Joe Bertoncini.
I've seen 90-year-olds race a 100-yard dash, and it's really terrific. I wish I could do that.
For Ed, running was more than just a sport. It was also a way to stay healthy and strong enough to look after his wife, Wilma, who suffers from multiple sclerosis.
Lately, I have had concern about him racing, but I can't say no to him because he needs the outside interest to keep him going, rather than have to worry about taking care of me all the time.
The director of the games was Fay Connect.
There was nothing that would have warned you of anything. He had no ongoing medical problems. He had competed in triathlons and stuff like that before.
Medical volunteers watched from the sidelines, including EMT Rosie Sherman.
Mr. Johnson, I think, was a very competitive person, and he was trying to give the race his all, and he did.
The winner completed the 1,500-meter race in just under 7 minutes. Ed was close behind.
He had placed 3rd. He had qualified for nationals.
When I got there, he was still breathing, and then developed agonal breathing, the last few breaths that will occur before someone ceases to breathe entirely. I didn't know whether he had a stroke, whether he had a cardiac event, but if we did not pursue something very quickly, the man was dead.
Volunteer EMT Alma Myers rushed to assist.
Dr. Cordes was taking the carotid pulse, and at that time he said there was no breathing and no pulse, that we had a cardiac arrest.
Something happened up here. They called for medics.
Get him over. Come on. Get him over.
He stopped breathing. No, he stopped breathing.
When they turned Ed over, hey, his name is Ed Johnson, I started to cry. I seen Ed. I says, oh, my God, it's Ed, and I'm responsible for his death because I had asked him to come on up to Shippensburg to race. What am I going to say to his wife back home?
His face was very ashen. His mouth was open. His eyes were open. His pupils were fixed. I would say probably the chance of recovery for Mr. Johnson was in the category of maybe 70-30 against.
Help her get the back.
Was it his last time around?
I've been on a lot of cardiac arrest patients, and in the 10 years, I know that I've only saved really 1 person, and that was 5 years ago. So, you know, I'm there and I'm thinking, you know, the chances are very slim.
Switch. Doesn't look so good, frankly. They were pushing on his chest and blowing into his mouth, and I could hear somebody say he was dead. It just took everything out of me.
Periodically, what you do is you go over and you check to see if you feel a pulse in the neck.
We have a pulse. We have a pulse. We're breathing. He's breathing. Hey.
When Dr. Cordes told us that he had a pulse, that he was breathing, I was overjoyed, and really overjoyed when Mr. Johnson looked up and said, well, what was my time? That's all he was worried about, was his time.
Mr. Johnson was and is an extremely lucky individual. He did not have a major heart attack that precipitated the cardiac arrest. He had nothing happen to him other than the fact that he died, and other than the fact that he came back. So he is an extremely lucky man.
Ed Johnson's heart stopped beating for more than 4 minutes. He was released from the hospital the next day. 1 year later, Ed shows no signs of any problems. His daughter Susan is still amazed by his recovery.
That night when my sister brought him through the front door, when we could see for ourselves that he was fine, when he hugged us and it was the same strength that he's always hugged us with. That's the moment when I knew everything was going to be fine.
He has to keep active, and he wants to keep his mind active for the simple reason that his older sisters both have Alzheimer's, and he's worried about getting because it seems to run in the family.
I can sit here and watch television and feel like I'm an old man trying to get out of the sitting position. But that is nothing related to running. As soon as you get out there, you do your stretching exercises, you're ready to run. The body's ready to run. It'll do it.
Recently, Ed got a chance to thank the EMTs who helped to save his life.
A little different than what you saw me last.
Just a little. Hi there.
Bless your heart.
Thank God that the rescue team was nearby.
Love you too.
They did their thing one step at a time, and they brought Ed to within minutes. And I thank them for that, believe me.
This is from all of the company members from CB Hose Company in Shippensburg to you.
Terrific.
So that you always remember.
Thank you for giving me my dad back. I understand. I lost a 6-year-old with cancer, and I understand.
Yeah, I lost a husband. That's why I came here.
Undoubtedly, they made the future races possible. That one that fits. I thank them because this is my way of life. Great. Onward. I do want to continue with the way of life that I have. I'm very happy that way.
Ed competed in the National Senior Triathlon and placed 6th for his age group.
I was advising him not to race anymore last year, but the attitude that he has, go get it, Ed. Go for the gold, that's what I call it. Go for it.
I knew he wouldn't come in first, but it's just such a great pleasure to see him finish something like that because I know it's his dream.
You did it. Let's get some water.
Very nice. Hey, you need some water. That's a great race like that. Thank you.
Keep walking. Keep walking. Right?
I love my kids. I love my wife.
Yep. Over here.
My wife, I got to give her a kiss.
Oh, okay.
And if they're with me in the senior games to help me, I love them and I'll kiss every one of them.